Welcome to Late Night League. I'm Mark Zimmerman. This week we are talking about roster swaps. ROX Tigers is packing it in, which is leading to a round of LCK musical chairs. Among NA teams, it looks like Immortals Roster has seen better days. Today we will also get to hear the latest news from one of League's OGs, Scarra. Put down that turkey leg, Thanksgiving is over. Late Night League starts right now. The offseason is in full swing as rosters start to shuffle. We haven't heard officially about which teams players are going to, but there have already been a ton of players getting freed up. Probably the biggest news is that ROX Tigers are dead as we know them. Prey, Gorilla, and Smeb are all gone and moving on to new teams. With the second best team in the world disbanding and an influx of Korean pros returning from China, the LCK is going to be stacked this season. Rumors of super teams sprouting have already started, and it looks like KT are going to be the big winner this offseason. The rumor is Smeb, Score, Pawn, Deft, and Mata are all joining the lineup. Samsung White 2.0, here we go. Looking domestically, NA regular season powerhouse Immortals Roster is also pretty much gone. It had been rumored for a long time, but it seems official now with some of the players being confirmed gone by the organization themselves. While you can call the 2016 season a failure in some sense despite not making Worlds, even though they had a great regular season finish and had 2 third-place splits in a row, KOF Season 5 Team Liquid that I coached, there have been some debate about the effectiveness of the coaching staff at Immortals, but at the very least, the organization as a whole seemed to have a great attitude and approach to the scene. Personally, I'm worried about their ability to pull together another team even close to the same caliber of the one they had this year. This is one of the fears of relegations, is that a good org could potentially fade out of the league. It almost happened with Echo Fox, and things aren't looking good for Immortals. Before we continue with the NA roster speculations, however, I would like to introduce my co-host and today's guest. First up, we got Travis Gafford joining us. How you doing, Travis? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Actually got to go to Vancouver right afterwards for the ULOL rivalry thing. It's been really cool.
Don't want to spoil too much of the show, but we have something from the ULOL rivalry series coming up after later. But before we get to that, I want to introduce our guest for the episode. It's William Jimmy Scarra Lee.
Ooh.
How you doing, buddy?
Hello. Is this just a handshake? Okay.
Yeah, this is a handshake.
It's all you.
Okay, okay.
Scarra's swaggy, man. You got to be ready for it.
All right.
You just throw stuff at you. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Anything interesting for you this week? Thanksgiving with the group, the crew?
I didn't have anything. I threw like a little bit of a Thanksgiving party, and then it worked out okay.
Family or friends?
Friends, because my family's in China, so I have like no family in the country.
You want to come over for it?
I didn't want them to
flight.
pay like $1,000 to come over for it.
I mean, I guess they don't really love you. Anyways, let's get into some of what we were talking about in the monologue, which was, of course, the roster shuffle, all the stuff going on. Starting with, of course, Immortals kind of blowing up, in a sense, losing all their players. Is this something that you would be, worried about? Because Immortals is like a good org, in a sense, and it seems like if they can't put together, a solid roster, they could be in trouble with relegations and things like that.
I mainly think that Immortals, I'm not too worried about Immortals. I think that the way they scouted their initial roster was really unique in that I heard that their owner had a specific model that he used to scout all the players. And I'm curious to see if he can reproduce it. I've heard really good things about their new roster, and the fact that I heard the core would mean that the roster is like guaranteed top 4. So I don't know what that means, but people have been like hinting at me that it's important.
Who's on it? Who's on the team?
Yeah, you can just break the news here. I don't care.
I have no idea, actually.
So people are just telling you like, yo, that Immortals roster's so good, and you're like, what's the roster? You're like,
yeah. So it's like, it's rumors, right? It's like
Yeah.
I hold them to a little bit of trust, but I'm not sure how it's going to shake out.
Okay.
Speaking of rumored teams, we had a leak a little bit about the potential Echo Fox lineup, which looked like it was going to be Looper, Santorin, Froggen, Keith, and potentially Pobelter at support. Just looking up and down that roster, what do you think of that lineup? Would they do well or have issues?
Well, first of all, the last North American mid going to support really kind of worrisome because for me, it just shows the fact that everyone's really, really willing to import mid lane talent. So like for up and coming mid laners, sure, you're more valuable if you can make it to LCS, but it's just really awkward because if you can't, and you're like good enough for maybe even like the bottom tier LCS teams or like halfway and then down, you will never make it into LCS because it's just so stacked with like imported talent.
Do you think then that people just don't even try to become a mid laner? Like it's just like people just are like, okay, I
I've
can't.
had a lot of people who are mid lane talents tell me that they gave up because of the imports.
Right. Well, that's what's so weird is when you look at like kind of the ladder, there's so many mid players in like the top 200 challenger, and yet none of them are in the LCS, right? Like it's a little backwards like that.
I mean, I think it's more jungle right now because for some reason, like we have like an insane amount of junglers really high up in the ladder. But I just think in general, it's pretty demotivating as a mid lane player to like not be able to get in.
All right, so what about the roster beyond the fact that Pobelter are potentially moving support?
Okay.
Do you think, is that a roster that makes sense to you? Because I look at it, and it kind of looks like Energy 2.0 to me, where I just don't see the synergy and like how that unit functions as a whole.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried because I don't think they really have a way to solve their like communication problem for top lane. And I think that top lane especially is a lane that needs to communicate with the rest of the team to organize TPs and all that stuff for like, the entire time. So unless you have competent communication, top laner is just gonna look bad. And it's not gonna be because of him, it's gonna be because like, you just can't communicate your like team-wide plays. And on top of that, I always thought of Froggen as a player that needed a jungle that enabled him really well. Santorin and Froggen are both well known for like farming and like being very lane specific and like I guess farm specific early. And I think that that's not necessarily the type of jungler that Froggen should want to work with. He should want to work with a really proactive jungler. And while Santorin did really well last split, I think in the middle of the split, I thought he was the most improved player of all the players in the LCS. And in the second half of the split, I thought that actually his teammate, his AD carry that worked with Kiwi,
OQ?
OQ was the most improved player at that point. Contrary to what a lot of people ended up telling me. And I thought that Santorin kind of fell off a little bit. And I think that Santorin's biggest fault is that he doesn't know how to take that many proactive plays, and so he's a very reactive type of player, or he has like a plan and he like just follows through with it. And I think that playing with Froggen, you need to be like a proactive player to set up Froggen to play well.
So if you were talking about proactive junglers, one might look at Dardoch, who apparently is on the way out of Team Liquid right now because it sounds like Reignover is on his way there. So do you think this would be something that would be good, maybe as a better counterpart to Froggen, where Dardoch is known, if anything, to be too aggressive in going for plays, and Froggen can maybe play off him more? Is that the kind of thing you think is more what he needs?
Yeah, I definitely think it's someone, because I'm not worried about Froggen when it comes to like team fighting, late game, mid game. I just need someone who can shot call the early game and control the portion of the map to where he can get to a point where he can team fight and he can play well. And I think that that's like his strength. Froggen's strength is just being able to always be impactful, pressure lane really well, and then have good team fighting throughout the game. And I think that you just need someone that's able to frontline, able to initiate, and can understand late game shot calling. I thought that last year, their shot calling wasn't that good.
Right, yeah.
And so because of that, like this year, they should have focused on, okay, we need a frontline initiator and who can make plays, proactive plays, and we need a shot caller that can work with Froggen.
Right. All right, gonna change it up a little bit here, talking about Travis's favorite subject in double lift.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
I like
welcome
that
back.
guy. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah,
So I
so
was sleeping there for a second,
Yeah.
and then
yeah,
for
it's
double lift,
when Scar starts talking, just eyes glaze over.
yeah.
But so the thing is, we saw Turtle play AD carry for TSM during IM Oakland. Looked, whatever.
Yeah.
But very likely that I think we're all expecting to see him for the regular season for them, and then double lift return. Do you think this is a good move for TSM to bring Turtle back into the fold, or do you think they should spend this split doing something else, maybe developing a younger talent or whatever?
I don't know. I think that Turtle, I don't necessarily know if Turtle was the right person to go with. It's not that I think he's not a very talented AD carry. Spring split this year, I think he was the best AD carry in North America for like the large majority of the split. And I think going to summer, he definitely fell off. But I think that a lot of it came down to the fact that I felt like him and Adrian had really poor synergy, especially in lane. And Turtle is not known for being the best laner himself.
And we're in a forced standard lane meta now where you can't lane swap out of things.
Exactly. And so I think especially now, Turtle needs to find a support that he works really well with, and they just need to hustle to get better at laning, and just in general. And I think that maybe Biofrost is the person to do that. However, maybe they could have developed another talent as well. I hope that TSM isn't looking to crutch on Doublelift coming back, because I think that once you've been out of it for like, even if it's just 6 months, like rebuilding the synergy and all that stuff is going to take time. And so like I would have much preferred if Doublelift was able to stay on the roster from like to build like synergy, make their team work super clean going into Worlds at the end of the year. But I understand they ended up leaving for streaming for personal reasons.
Do you think, I'm actually kind of curious about this, do you think that they should have tried to find a super all-star AD carry or try to like import someone or something like that? Or is it better to try to go with that, like, all right, like Turtle's going to be on our team and then maybe Double?
I think there's a fascination with importing like Korean players and players who don't speak the language. And when you think about their coach doesn't speak Korean. You think about their players don't speak Korean. And so like, if you wanted to import someone, you'd import like a European AD carry.
Like Forgiven, who says he's looking to move to North America.
Yeah, so it'd be like Forgiven, or it'd be like Freeze, or I would have even tried for like the Misfits AD carry, Hans. He's really, really good upcoming talent. But I think a lot of those were locked in place. Freeze has like maybe a risk factor associated with him because he was out for a lot of the split.
A wrist factor.
Yeah, a risk and a wrist factor. And Forgiven has a factor on the fact that he has not been on a consistent team for a long period of time, which shows that there are some inner team turmoil.
Yeah.
And so because of that, it's like maybe Turtle was the safest option that also gelled very well with the team.
So maybe you bring Forgiven in because you've got 6 months anyway to figure out if this guy's going to work or not, and then if
what?
Not, then you're good.
If he doesn't work out, what happens? You bank on Double?
You blow it up and hopefully Double comes back.
I think that's terrible. Like because it's like
I gotta cut this conversation off. Gotta move the show along. Speaking of miscommunication, terrible things, we have a clip this week that's actually from the ULOL rivalry series and this week's Hindsight.
This might turn into a mini inhibitor trading race, depending on what Jin does, but Trundle is sure to stay behind.
Yeah, well, Trundle, teleports to the tower. The tower's taking a lot of damage. Is he going to complete it? He does right before it goes out, but Zach is already down. Cell Division is not available. Jin has just completed his recall, and it looks like the curtain call comes out. Talk Play Love has dropped extremely low, but KT Smurf takes some damage down onto Demnus. The Deadly Flourish comes out as the Zanyas is burned here by KT Smurf. The Onslaught of Shadows comes back in, though, and Pneumatic's able to pick up a kill on the Kassadin. That's the Fed member going down from UBC, and now it's a double kill picked up as Karma and Jin.
This week for Hindsight, we are looking at a turret push situation from the ULOL rivalry series. Now, what's funny is that this play looks like it could have been a mistake on the side of Simon Fraser, but it ends up winning them the game. In the clip, we see that they're pushing along the top side, trying to get the top inhibitor turret down. Now, if you look at the map, you'll see that at the same time, UBC is split pushing mid and bottom with Trundle and Jin. Now, Jin is a bad champion to have split pushing just because he takes turrets so slowly, but it looks like they're going to try and recall him out and get him topside after he takes the mid turret down, and Trundle starts TPing in. Now, Scarra, tell me, what are your thoughts when you start seeing this start going in, this TP?
When I see this TP going in, the only way this works is if everyone commits when the TP starts. That way they can't burn the turret fast enough. UBC is lucky the TP even went through, because if it didn't, they would have gotten slaughtered even harder. I just think that it was terrible teamwork, communication. I don't think in any situation I've ever seen an AD carry like Jin split push like this. And even if it was an AD carry split pushing, only be like Vayne in that situation. And due to the gold deficit, maybe they didn't think they could win this fight. Trundle's already at bot lane tower. He should have just kept taking the inhib, and they could have just traded inhibs. And since the bot inhib is more important than the top one, seeing as how Baron is up, they could have just worked with that and looked to secure something else if they didn't want to take this fight because they're already out of position. I just thought it was terrible.
I completely agree.
You know nothing about the game. As we'll see as we play this out, clearly no one with Scarra's mind was in this game, because the Zach just goes flying in, gets popped before the Jin's able to join the fight. He's finally in range, pops some ult off here, but he's so far from the rest of the fight that when the Kassadin goes back in to reinitiate and is going to use his Zanyas here, Jin is just so far out of the frame that he's got to get anywhere in range to hopefully join back into this fight. Obviously, that's not going to happen. The Kassadin's going to come out of the Zanyas and lose the game. Travis, what was the reaction like on campus when this kind of stuff was happening? Were people going crazy?
Yeah, people were going crazy. I mean, I don't know if there was too much facepalming, even though arguably, especially based on your and Scar's assessment, there probably could have been. But, I mean, I don't know. The collegiate stuff is just fun to watch, I think is a good way to put it, because you see stuff you'll see nowhere else.
And at least it's on the new patch.
Yeah.
All right, you know? So it was a fun series, fun ending for this game. The collegiate rivalry stuff is still going on every weekend, albeit this week, so be sure to check it out. When we come back, we'll be talking more with Scarra about what he's up to now, so join us then. All right, well, we are back from break, still hanging out with Travis and Jimmy. You guys recovered from that horrible Hindsight clip yet?
I thought it was great.
I thought it was really bad. He critiqued me on the fact that it was pretty bad. And I was just like, he said I couldn't critique it because I shouldn't be their biggest critic. And I'm just like, I'm my own biggest critic.
Well, and you play against them all the time in solo queue. You have history with them. It's not like...
So I'm just like, I don't think the play was good. And I don't think they should think it's that good either.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. Speaking of things that aren't good, your interviews. You recently transitioned to doing a lot of interviews, which I find...
Were you talking to him or to me?
I don't know. I'm just looking at both of you. I mean, it applies to both. I can just look this way.
Oh, okay.
But it was interesting to see you go to an interviewer because you always had this kind of like, you were a streamer, pro player, analyst. It all was kind of like down the same path. And then out of nowhere, you become an interviewer. So what was that all about?
At the very beginning, I thought that I wanted to push myself a little bit outside of my comfort zone. And so the two immediate things that came out on top, or I had three options. I could stream an extra 100 hours a month. So at the moment, or at the time, I streamed like maybe 150 to 180 hours. So I could push that another 100 hours. Alternatively, I could do something else. I decided that I didn't want to push an extra 100 hours because I was kind of feeling a little bit like it might be too much.
Burnt out, yeah.
Yeah, and so I asked that option, and then I had the option to do the analyst desk for Riot or to be an interviewer. And the interviewer job kind of came out of nowhere. I thought in my mind that it's better to push your into uncomfortable places to learn more about yourself and become, and like it's just an extra tool I can put on my toolkit, so to speak.
No, that's good. Your interviews definitely made me uncomfortable, so I can see how that works.
Yeah, there's a lot of room to grow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you watched my interview, seeing as I watched none of yours.
Really? What the heck?
I mean, well, I actually find it interesting. You guys have like really different styles where like your background comes through as like, you know, obviously a player where you're asking like, what happened this game? Was this the right pick? What was with that rotation? And then Travis knows nothing about the game, so his background comes through where he's just asking like, you know, what's up with you in your life? It's like two different styles.
What if I was the like most brilliant gameplay analyst ever? No one knew it. I just never wanted to ask those questions.
I know you're not. I've known you too long to know that's not true.
What the heck?
We've seen you play League. It's not there.
Yeah, it's
My Blitzcrank is fire.
there's nothing inside the skull.
What the?
League related. Sorry.
League related. Okay, thank you.
So your interview style, was it something that just came naturally because that's your background, or was it a conscious choice because you didn't think this, like, you know, it's fine to have different styles, of course. Was it something you wanted to do,
I
or
think
was it natural?
it's always like when I'm creating content or when I'm doing anything, I always want, if I was the person watching the content, what would I like to see? So as an interviewer, it's always been from my point, like, what are the questions I want to know answers to? So when I see like a draft go badly, I'm like, why'd you pick that there? Or I see this team fight happen, and I'm just like, what were the comm likes here? Like, what ended up happening in the middle of the game? And those are the type of questions that I really look forward to doing. And actually, I've had like a little bit of pushback from the score when I was working there, being like, you gotta be like a little bit more toward like, like talking about the future. Like, you can't just get hung up only on the game, because even from an interviewing standpoint, that's not like the best thing I can do. So it's been essentially just a split of growth for me as an interviewer. I watched my early interview, my very first like week of, and I was like, holy shit, that was so bad. Like the first week was me just grinding out interviews. I did like 9 to 13 interviews the first week just to get a feel for how interviewing was, and I could just like kind of improve week by week from there, like thinking about how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we joke a lot, but I really have appreciated Scar's entrance into the space because I certainly don't tend to talk about the game that much. Like, whenever I got into this whole thing, it was because I wanted people to become fans. So I try to get more of the personality, character, and kind of the side stories or backstories going on. And that always gets a lot of people that are frustrated with me because they're like, you should ask more about the game or whatever, and they get angry and they're like, Travis's interviews suck. Now those people don't even have to watch my interviews. They can go watch his and learn about the game, and then the people that want to watch the stuff that I do can watch my stuff.
I just hope everyone watches my interviews.
Not everyone.
I hope everyone watches
Okay.
my interviews.
Well,
I mean, I personally appreciate both, even though I might watch a few more of Scarra's, because I'm always curious of many of the same things that you are, coming from, you know, coaching background, of course. Speaking of kind of growth this past year that you've gone through, there's like this whole new like kind of brand that's kind of sprung up around you and a couple of your friends, like the crew. That's like you, Dyrus, Scarra, and Pokemon. I always mess that up. But you guys have like an AMA and stuff. So what's up with all of that and like the merch and the videos together?
I think I started like kind of a management agency. It's like a management firm with me, Chris, my manager, and like a couple other people who are very talented in their field, and we thought about how we wanted to approach like the sector. And so you know how I talked about, I wanted to do interviewing, I wanted to do YouTube content, Twitch content, like I want to be a content creator. On the side, I also wanted to do something else. And so I thought opening up my own organization would be kind of interesting. And so on that facet, we decided very early that one of the first things I wanted to do was just combine a lot of like content creators to try to push for like bigger deals. And so that's why I approached QD myself. I approached all the other people and was just like, so what do you think? Like, what do you think about this? I promise you, the people I work with are really, really good. Because there's a lot of agencies that spring up all the time with people who are like, oh, I have this so-and-so investor, oh, so-and-so this. But like the guys I work with are like way more talented, no offense, than the other agencies. And I feel like they have a much better vision of where to go. And so because of that, and their connections are insane. And so because of that, I think that we're experimenting, like working together, coming together, and I think it's just more fun that way as well. If you look at other content spheres, like let's say Vine or YouTube, there's a lot of situations where all the people like live together and create content together.
Right.
There's a lot of like combined content in terms of YouTube channels or all kinds of like just like there's like Vining houses or like a street where just Viners live on or used to live on because Vine's dead now.
Rip in
but
peace.
They used to live on. They used to like literally create content on a daily basis. And I think that I don't know if we want to go that far, but we're just kind of experimenting and seeing what we can do, what we can't.
Do you need any investment? Because I could angel invest. I got like $10 I could give you guys.
Yeah, what does that get me for like ownership of you?
Yeah.
Can I
Of
buy
me?
Scarra for like $20? Like,
Oh man, dude, come on, I'm worth a little bit more than that. At least bump it to 3 figures and then we'll talk.
I think we're paying you for this interview in like fruit snacks.
I wish I was getting paid for this interview, Travis. Every year I talk to you and I'm like, Travis, you gotta pay me for this, and you're just like,
Which
I can't do it.
And then ultimately decided to become your own interviewer just because you're
Yeah.
like
just to spite him.
Yeah.
just because.
Finally, I can get paid for my interviews. I guess is what.
Exactly.
You also, I mean, one of the people in the group is Yuna, kind of. What's the deal with Yuna? Because I think a lot
He's
of
the
people.
mascot.
Right,
No,
he's,
no.
he's the team mascot.
Actually, he wasn't part of the team, but during the time that we were working around a bunch of like ways to think about, how do we promote this, how do we do this, we actually found out that Yuna's
He's funny.
no, he's not just funny. He's actually one of the best people I've ever met in terms of like being funny for social media. Like,
Right.
He understands memes on like a subconscious. This is gonna sound so stupid. He
dreams in
No,
memes?
he understands memes on like a subconscious level, and he's so good at being able to put together like ideas that are consistent. And I think he's just really, really good at what he does. If he wants a future in that type of like production and planning, he has it guaranteed. Like I'm not even kidding. Like the company I own was like so impressed. They're like, we'd like him to work for us in the future. He's really, really good at what he does. And I was surprised, and so was he. He was like, wow, I didn't think I could do this.
Yeah, he didn't think he had any talents, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he shot all of the video for our commercial.
Yeah, that
he
was
came
really
up
good.
with the entire idea. He came up with all the like he does Beyond the Rift Twitter. He does like his own Twitter. He does like all the stuff leading up to the promo for the advertisement as well. And he's just like really good at doing it. I don't know what else I could say.
Right. Well, we don't have to say anything else because it's time to move on to our next segment where we're going to bring up some funny clips of your past. Maybe Yuna can use some of these in future memes. The first one is kind of more just pictures in a sense. You have like a cult following.
Okay.
We can take a look at some of them.
Okay. Oh, there's pictures of me. Oh, the me running.
Yeah, like, well, just everything. The Scarra Pick subreddit as a whole. I mean, what's your take on this? I know you have like a post on there.
I used to get a little bit frustrated because I was like, do people just see me as an object rather than like a player? But now as I grew older, I was just like, oh, it's just funny. It's actually just super funny. And so now, like, I know if ever I do something in public, like my last advertisement where I like cross-dressed as a girl, instantly like the picture was on like the sub, like that subreddit, and like I have a Discord as well, and we have like a scarra picks section of the Discord. It
Really?
It just like spanned with that.
How do I get into that? Because the ScarPix, those that don't know, ScarPix subreddit, actually my subreddit, I made it, and I need more content. So if I could just get into that Discord, that'd be great.
You'd have to pay me for the content.
What the
Travis.
heck?
Oh, finally turned it around back on him. All right. Well, the second clip is a real clip this time, and it's one of your most famous moments on stream. So let's take a look at it.
Is this the word video? Oh,
You know.
I know.
Oh, I get the reset. Oh, I need the reset so badly. I get the reset. Oh, get another reset.
You know, I haven't
Oh
watched
my
this.
God.
I haven't watched this in years, actually.
This is like what? This is one of the ones that like launched like your kind of like brand.
The Scar Award was like insane. I actually used to get really mad at people who used to meme that kind of stuff. Like I didn't want to be known as like the guy who like got the restart or like the Scar Bush. But again, over time, I really mellowed out. Now it's like it's just funny. Like straight up, it's super funny. I look back on this, I'm just like, wow, holy moly, what was I thinking? And I just think it's really cool because it's just me.
Well, yeah, and I think what's cool too is like you can see you're a lot more like comfortable streaming, whereas like not like you're uncomfortable there, but you're like kind of subdued. You're just like, oh, can I get the reset? And then like now you're like popping off anytime anything happens.
Yeah, like I think that it's just like a window into the past. I guess is essentially what this kind of stuff is, and it's cool for me to watch. You know, I'm glad that it was like part of League history, I guess.
Well, you kind of saw this last one coming. You mentioned it a little bit before. Probably your greatest stream moment ever. Here we go.
Oh, this is the word.
Yeah, you knew it.
I already knew.
I love this so much.
This is so
wonder.
good. This is like something everyone can relate
Ward over
to.
here. Wow, can I really not get the ward over? There's a ward range on this. I hate this game.
Your face is so good.
I hate this game so much.
The pause,
Oh my
the
God.
hate. It's like the perfect clip. 'Cause
Oh my
everyone's done that where they're like, "What's the range on this? Like, why isn't this working?" And then
My
face
favorite
bomb.
is you just do it so quickly. You're like, oh, I fucked the first one up. I better fix it on the next one, and then it's
I
like,
just
it
moved my
keeps
mouse
doing
a
it.
little
Yeah,
bit
yeah.
over. Oh, like that clip is just like everyone has had the moment where like they just colossally mess up, and they're just like, I'm the biggest idiot ever. That was my moment, and it was recorded for everyone to see.
Yeah, I mean, we avoided one that I hear you're not a big fan of, which is the "Are you here tomorrow, big?" or whatever. That's the one that people like always bring up.
I just
I know you used to hate that one.
Yeah, I think it's funny, but like, it's like the same thing as when you overtell a joke.
Right.
So like when you hear it so much, it's just like let's say your favorite song is Starboy right now. You love it, but it plays every single day on the radio. Eventually, you're gonna start to hate it. Like Christmas songs are a good example. You know, they're already playing Christmas songs right now. By the time Christmas rolls around, you're gonna hate those songs.
Yeah.
Do you have anything is that like something that people came up to you and say a ton all the time? Because I know,
Yeah,
like,
at events,
all-
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's like all the time. People used to come up to me and be like, "You here tomorrow?" I have one question, and I'm doing like a Q&A. Are you here tomorrow, big? And I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh,
it's like, oh, what an original
yes, no, maybe.
Yeah, you just like can't get away from it. All right, well, moving on to the last thing. I've been asking a lot of people about their thoughts on the preseason, and obviously as a mid player, one of the big changes was to Katarina, obviously avid Katarina player from the clip. What are your thoughts on her so far? Are you happy with the changes? Do you think she's strong?
I think she's stronger than she was before, and she's got like a really high skill ceiling now. I think probably her skill ceiling is somewhere between. She's like a top 3 champion, I think, in general, hardest difficulty to play.
Right.
Because everything from your mouse position on where you want to shuffle around targets to, which has never been done before, actually, for any point and click ability, to positioning where your Q lands.
Like all the setup.
The setup for the Q is it's 350 range behind in the direction that you throw it. And so like you have to constantly like reposition it in lane to get the angle to do it. I think that the champion is way more fun to play, way harder to play, and I think that her laning is like she can outplay people a lot better. So if you're better than the other player, you could just make Cat look like
So overall, you're
good.
very happy with it.
I think I would rate it something like an 8 out of 10. And so it's not like exceptionally, like it's not just like, wow, this is amazing. But it's like anything above a 7 or above for me is really good.
Give me a 10. Like Has there ever been a 10 for you, or like what's the closest to a 10?
I think the concept of like Orianna or Lee Sin as a champion is like very close to a 10 for me. Lee Sin especially is like straight 10. I think the entire kit, the champion itself is so fun to play. I understand like the numbers may be broken or like
whatever, yeah,
whatever. But the champion itself and the way you play it feels so fluid. There's a reason why he's got a 30% pick rate right now, and it's not just due to his strength; it's due to his. It's so fun.
I mean, yeah, there were times where he was weak and people still spammed him just because he's such a signature champion to play.
Yeah, and I think that champions like both of those are not only unique but feel very, very good to play. And those are champions I'd rate close. Lee Sin's a 10, Orianna is probably like a 9. And the idea of Orianna is really, really unique. And I really respect whoever ended up making that champion.
Right. Speaking of other things from the preseason, you're not a big jungler, I don't think. Have you played in the new jungle? Do you like the plants, that kind of stuff?
I hated the plants when I first came in. And then now, I'm like neutral. I think the plants are just whatever. You know, they're an extra thing added on top. I don't think it takes too much away from the game. And I think it adds like some humor. Essentially,
some just spice,
some humor. Like essentially, I just think of it as humor because it's like, well, the blast plant's just like let me run away, or like the healing plant just randomly spawned here, and I guess I picked it up, and that's it. Like I just think there are strategic options with it, but for me right now, it's like a humor. It's like a laughing thing.
So my final question about the preseason patches, I personally feel like it might be a little on the shallow end for preseason patches that we've seen. There's no big item reworks, there's no big mastery rune reworks, no objective changes like dragons or turrets, and so it really does feel on the lighter end. Are you concerned at all that without maybe the proposed 10 ban change system, that with no lane swaps, next season of League is a little boring because it wasn't like a huge change that we're used to seeing in the preseason?
Oh, next season is going to be so boring without the 10 bans. But I'm like pretty positive it's coming, so I'm not too worried.
Right. I'm not worried, but I'm saying that like when you see just this patch, you're kind of like, that's it?
Well, it's more like I expected them to change more. Like
that's what.
Like like the original preseason patch could have been bigger.
Right.
But I thought the original size of the patch was like, I did a patch preview. It took 2 hours, like 2 hours and like 20 minutes, and then I thought after that, the patches would have like huge changes. Like as soon as this item's broken, all right, we're just gonna change it, or we're gonna adjust it because it's not good enough. And so it's like, oh well, okay, well where's my Zed buff? Why is Courage of the Colossus still in the game? Like at its current strength. Why is Redemption Locket both still in the game at its current strength? Why did Rise of Syndra not get nerfed yet? Like why is Jace still a thing? Like why? Like all these why questions that I'm just like, I have a list on my last patch preview, 7 to 8 things I wanted to see.
That you want to change.
Yes. None of them were hit. And I was just like, okay, like I understand like why you may not want to hit these now, but you're gonna need to eventually. At least half the list.
Real quick before we start wrapping up, Travis, just give me your thoughts, obviously on the high level like Scarra, but do you think that these kind of changes, we need bigger ones in the preseason, or do you think it's fine?
No, I mean, I like big changes because I like the feeling of whenever the next season comes around, it's really cool to be like, all right, everything's brand new again. Like the rosters are brand new, the game is brand new, et cetera. And I think this is a good time to do it. And so it's always kind of cool for me to see just like huge changes and like how everyone reacts to it. And before we close out the show, I have a final question, which is, Scar, how do I get a T-shirt that says my name and has my face on it? Because that would be, how do I get one of those made?
Well, we just launched our new merch store. It's verifiedmerch.com, and actually, this idea came up out of nowhere at the very, very end of the thing, and because we were just thinking about shirt ideas, and they're just like, what do you think about this? I'm just like, let me see the mock-up. And then they showed it to me, I'm like, that's hilarious, sure, just run with it. And so I'm kind of happy with the design. I don't think I'm vain enough to wear this every day, but
on a show that a bunch of people are going to watch, you'll wear it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, promote. Promote himself.
I want to get that shirt.
Check out his Twitter, check out his new store for all his stuff. That's going to do it for us here on Late Night League for today. Tilted is up next. We'll be on every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Only a couple episodes left, actually, so catch them while you can. Until next time, and from everyone here at Late Night League, have a good afternoon.